Hey everyone, welcome back to Rhythm Railroad. So tonight I'm working on my overpass. This is just a road that goes over the yard here in the back of the south yard, or the north yard actually. Just kind of goes across in between the buildings back there. I'm sure you've seen other videos with me talking about this overpass. But today I wanted to just add more details to make it just a little bit more interesting to look at. So what I'm doing today is adding lampposts to the sides. Now I did a little research. I looked at, I just Googled lampposts for a highway overpass. And what I noticed is that a lot of them are mounted kind of off the sidewall, whatever that sidewall is made of, whether it's concrete or steel or whatever. And there's usually some kind of base, obviously, some kind of place for it to sit on. So I had to make those as well, and then figure out how I'm going to get the wiring through. So let me just go one step at a time. First of all, the lampposts that I ended up getting are, the little cheap ones that you buy on Amazon or eBay with the little LED. They come pre-wired already. The ones that I actually ended up getting were these from this company, Eve model. It's Chinese made, very cheap. And they're not meant to be like a very centric part of the scene. They're just kind of in the background. So I didn't need like great detail. So they do come with plastic parts and metal parts. So like the middle shaft here is metal, and then the top is a plastic piece. The bottom is a plastic piece, and then the housing for the light is also plastic. The metal, there's a little metal tube connecting the top of the pole to the housing. But as you can see, I painted the whole thing because the original tubing is very shiny. You can see it kind of at the top there. It's very shiny and kind of distracting. So when I looked it up on Google, most lampposts are just one color all the way through. So I decided to just match kind of the plastic color, which is like a darkish gray. And I like the way that looks better because it doesn't look like it's going to be shining off the lights and stuff. And I didn't want it to bring a lot of attention to the scene. So I think that'll be better. So that's the first step. Next, I had to build the pedestals, or like the little things for it to sit on. So what I did is I took some evergreen plastic square tubing. This particular one is 253. And I cut little pieces like this. So this is the tube, but this is the way the tube looks, right? So I cut pieces kind of like this size. I tried to match all the pieces. And then what I did is I took my blade and I just cut an angle at the bottom, kind of like this way, which obviously then gives you an opening, where the top of that. But this is what they look like. I put them on a Q-tip just to hold them, and so I can paint them also. But this is basically what it looks like. Now, this one doesn't have an opening because the next step was to glue them with some plastic cement to a thin piece of styrene. I don't even know what the thickness is, but this is just like a piece I had laying around. So what I did is I basically just glued these on the open end at an angle. I glued them like this. And then once they held, I just kind of let them go. Let them dry real nice. I painted them while they were still attached to this thing. And then I just cut like they were all kind of sitting here like this, all 5 of them. And I just cut the styrene sheet like that, and then just trimmed off and sanded the top. So now it's a cover. But obviously, the one dumb thing I did is that I didn't realize that when I was sanding them, the paint was going to come off. So that's why I did the Q-tip trick, where I just stuck the Q-tip inside and repainted them. So, there's no white spots. So that's what this part looks like. And these are going to sit like this with the angle on the bottom. So once I had done that, then what I did is I drilled a hole on the back side. I'll show you one that's completed already. Drilled a hole in the back side. I ran the wiring through there. And then what I did is I cut a little channel at the bottom. This is styrene also, or it's actually like a hard plastic, but it's soft enough where it'll do that without cracking. And I did that with my Dremel. I just, I had a disc. This is what I used to cut rail. So I just basically took the Dremel and just cut a little bit, just enough to get wires through there. So that was the next step. And then what I'm going to do next, which I don't know if I'm going to show in this video, but I'm going to basically drill through here all the way through, because on the bottom of the bridge I have a channel where I can run all the wires all the way through. I will have to drill a hole here also, but you're not going to see that, so it doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attempt to take this whole combination of pieces and parts, and I'm going to attempt to glue it onto here just to test it out. And then if I like it, then I'll do I basically have it every 5 inches. So one here, one here, one here in the middle, and so on and so forth. So I will need a total of, oops, I just dropped it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the front. And then the back is shorter because it's at an angle. So I'll probably only put like 3 back there. Got to see how they line up. I haven't checked that yet. I think I got the height right. What I did is I just kind of did it by eye, but I made the pole. These little plastic things you can move them up and down. So I made the pole extend into the plastic styrene thing that I made, as a base. So that's going to give it a little bit more support. And then I'll glue the plastic to the here. Oh, I also had to cut off the lip around this plastic part is round all the way through. So I had to cut off a flat spot, because when I glue this to the side of the bridge, I want it to be flush. I don't want it to be sticking out. So I had to match the plastic to the back of this so that it's all flat. This is hard to do with one hand. So once I glue it and I put it in place, you'll see what it looks like. All right, so I was able to get all the lamps on this side up. The way I do it is I basically use a combination of crazy glue and modeling glue, like the Tamiya, cement, plastic cement. And the reason I do that is because I need some kind of fast hold initially, and then a little bit of play after that. So first I made sure I had the bases connected to the platforms, and for that I used crazy glue on the inside just to get it to stay, and then I put the Tamiya around the outside just to get it to kind of seal. And I did that off the model. So once I did all of those like that individually off the bridge, then I took the entire assembly and put 1 drop of crazy glue at the top of the inside of the base. In other words, you have the opposite side of this here, and then a little Tamiya on the bottom, so that I could just stick it, and then I'd have a little play this way and that way. And then once I lined it up nice and straight, the crazy glue was doing all the holding while the Tamiya was doing all the sealing. And then once all of them were up and running, I took a very little amount with the brush that this glue comes with, and just hit it on the right sides. And the reason I did that is because sometimes this glue leaves a little bit of shine. And since the bridge is going to be seen in this direction, I hit it on the opposite side so you don't see any of that. If in case it does start to shine, you don't see any of that. So one thing I did want to mention, it was kind of hard to figure out, the perfect vertical line, since I don't have like a level or anything or any kind of like square to do that with. Plus, you can't really, there's no real flat surface besides the side of this to kind of line that up. So what I did is I kind of eyeballed the line from the jersey barriers there, because those are perfectly cut from Walthers. So you can see it lines up perfectly like that. That's how I was able to get that nice and straight. So I tried to do that with all of them. I just kind of got my eye where the line is and just tried to figure that out that way. So they look very straight this way, vertically, and then also they look lined up this way as well. So I'm happy with that so far. I'm going to not run the wires through the holes yet. See, I drilled all the holes. The wire is going to go through and into the bigger channel in the center here. And then I'll do all the rough wiring in there. But I think what I'm going to do is, since these wires aren't very long, I'm going to feed wires out of the hole, connect them out here, and then feed them back in. This way I'm not like fumbling with them inside the channel. Plus I have to put this thing upside down for me to access that, and it's going to be a little tricky to do that. So I didn't want to accidentally knock the post over that I just put up. So I'll do that after that. The only thing, the center one, which I totally did not take into consideration, I have to run the wire around and then through into the hole right there, which will be fine. And I could always add a little channel, like using styrene, make a little channel so it looks like conduit. So that's looking pretty good. Obviously I tested all the lamps. What I do is I use one of these watch batteries and just kind of hold it together like this. It's a very easy way to test the light. You can see it's working right there. And I just go through with all of them. There it is. And so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do next is get the backlights in. Now the backlights don't need to have a very nice looking base. So what I did is I just basically cut just a square. I didn't make the angle. So, but they are the same size. This way I know where they're supposed to land as far as the height. So I'll put those on the back side. You won't even see them. And the base, obviously the lamppost is the only thing that will be exposed on the opposite side like this. So they're lined up, and again, you'll be looking at it in this angle, so you'll see both of them. It's not like they'll be blinded like that, so it'll be like this. So I think that's going to add a nice touch to the bridge. And the only other thing I want to do now is get some kind of a sign, like a street sign, that I'm going to put probably either here or here, just to kind of block what, it's just basically sky, like just a blue. So I'm going to make like a cantilever type thing, or I might even go across the whole thing just to make some kind of, visual block there, and make a sign that says, exit here or something. So I'll have to scratch build that, because I don't think I've seen any signs that I like out there yet. So unless I find something, I'm going to have to scratch build it. All right, so we're making some progress here. I changed locations, by the way. So what I did now is I got all the wiring in, soldered, and I was able to leave a lead that controls all of the wires, or is connected to all the wires. This way I could just use one power source to light everything up. So what I did was, to try to do this carefully, besides getting the lamps up on the other side, I don't think I did that on the last video. But what I did underneath is I ran basically a solid wire and a striped wire. So I know what's A and B. I like making my A wires, or my positives, the solid wire, and the other one, the negative wire. And I brought the leads in from the lamps, you know, the red and the blacks, and soldered them into place. And then I taped everything down so that it wouldn't be, you know, potentially wiggling around and touching, creating a short circuit. So I did that all the way. At each end, what I did is I put a screw in and I wrapped the wire around just to make an anchor point so that the wires wouldn't go moving. And then I did the same thing here. So this way I can pull on the wire as much as I want and it won't affect the wires that are more delicate underneath. So now I left this lead nice and long, you know, just because I'm not sure which way I'm going to run it down the benchwork, so I might need a little more wire than anticipated. So I don't want to cut it too short where I have to then start splicing things in a very uncomfortable place. So the way I test these lights is I just use one of these little watch batteries, 3 volts. And I've already tested it, but let me show you. Let me just turn this light off. You can see that all of the lights are on. And I think that'll look nice. Whether it's, you know, I don't want to make it super bright. I want to make it just so you can see that there's lights up there. So during the day, I'll probably leave them on. And then when I turn lights off, they'll look nice anyway. And I think the spacing is pretty accurate from what I've seen out there. You know, they're not too far apart. They're not too close together. It's kind of about 2 car lengths for each spotlight or each lamp. So that's that. The last thing I did for this round is that I put in kind of like a catch for the drainage pipe here. So down here I made like a box that I would consider, you know, the box would carry into the ground, obviously like a kind of like a gutter, and then there would be some kind of drainage system underground that would take the water away from the tracks and from anything in that area. But yeah, somebody made a comment that I should make like some kind of a you know, like a drain type thing. But I have seen where like they bring the gutter or this catch type thing up a little higher so that the water, in case there's a lot of water, it doesn't go splashing out. It just kind of grabs all the stuff and pulls it in. So that's where we're at right now. Like I said before in the last video, I'm going to make a street sign over here or buy a street sign. I still have to weather the bridge a little bit. I don't want to overdo it, but just a little grime here and there from rainwater. But I think that's going to be it after that. I don't think I need anything else. I was going to add a railing, but I've seen bridges without railings. And I think a fence is overkill. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that. Again, this is going to be in the background. It's not going to be like a main thing. So just to hint at things that happen on overpasses. Things that you see on overpasses. That's it. That's all I got. And also trains running. All right. So this is what it looks like in place with the lights on. You can see that they're on, but they're not like overwhelming. I might go a little brighter than that, just because under these LED lights, it's already so bright that you could barely tell they're on. So I might go a little brighter, but you know, I could always put an adjuster on it too. So in case I'm doing like night stuff, I can just dim them a little bit. It's not a big deal. I keep making it a bigger deal than it is, but it's not. Anyways, the drain looks good on there because it's making contact with the ground. So once I put the ballast and stuff in, it'll look like it's buried under there. And otherwise, this is kind of what it's going to look like. I've decided that I'm going to just fill this up with trees right here and just kind of mask the other side of the bridge with that. And like I said before, the street sign will be on the other side, so it'll cover the kind of like the sky in the back there. So yeah, so all I got to do now is just basically weather it a little bit, and I'll be done with this project. And then I could get that back building finished, so I don't have to keep reaching back there anymore. And then just got to do all the ground cover and stuff that is going to go around the buildings. And just like I said, just keep working my way up this way so that I can finish this. All right, that's going to be the end of this project. Thanks.